Hey everyone, welcome to the new series on Cypress end-to-end test automation. Cypress is the front-end web automation tool which is becoming more popular and trending in these days. Most of you probably would have heard about this tool in the current days, and this is becoming particularly more popular in QA communities as well as the development communities. So in this series, we will talk about its key capabilities and how it supports end-to-end test. So before we step into the installation part of it, I wanted to call out key capabilities of Cypress and why Cypress. So number one thing is the time travel ability. It has got a feature called time travel ability, which probably not most of the testing tool has it. What does it really mean? So basically, if when we completed a test, we can go back and refer every single step that has happened in the application. In terms of the visuals, we can go back and check even what has happened in a single field level. So which is a very great and cool feature. And number two is the auto waiting and retry ability. So these guys, the product teams have coined the word retry ability, which is really making a lot of sense because it automatically waits. We do not have to introduce a lot of waits in any other test automation tool. So we'll see that in the subsequent videos on what are the different types of timeouts they have. And third thing is which is very fast and less flaky and supports end-to-end test. So when we say end-to-end test, it basically supports the web as well as the backend thing. And in addition to that, we can also extend the coverage on top of the database testing, data handling, and a lot of other things by using the Node.js. And the fourth point is we can completely control the app as well as the browser, which is a very cool feature where we can almost control everything which is going to the server as well as coming from the server in terms of the network traffic control or even APIs. They cover APIs test under the hood, which is a very great features. And fifth one is a debuggability. So debugging as a tool, as a product, it has its own capabilities of how we can debug it. In addition to that, we can also use the existing dev tools, like for example, Chrome dev tools. And then the sixth one point is it is not only popular in the QA communities as well as the development community. It's becoming more popular, definitely, and can be used by both dev and QA. And seventh one is which is making it possible to create state independent and consistent test, which is really the cool feature that I liked it because when we talk about the state independent, what does it really mean? So let me go back to a classic example of creating a login function. Login becoming more widely used and commonly used at test steps across all the other tests. So instead of writing it in a UI based test, which is quite not reliable and time consuming, we can also cover that under the API under the hood. We can make it as a very minimal reusable component separately and then reuse it, and then we can just coin our end-to-end test, which is becoming more independent and more reliable test. We will see that in the subsequent videos and what does it mean by state independent. And point number 8 is assertions. So assertions at its best because in addition to the traditional way of asserting something at an application level, for example, confirm whether something is right or wrong, we can also assert at the DOM level, which is nothing but the document object model level. What does it mean? We can also verify whether a particular attribute after a certain event on the browser, whether a particular attribute getting changed or is existing or it is making any other subsequent transition. So all this is possible, just like the way the app does, all this is possible in Cypress. Number 9 is the built-in screenshot and video recording capabilities. In addition to, in a lot of other testing tool, generally we go and refer few lines of code to cover the video and the screenshot, as well as video recording is not so straightforward in other tools, which is becoming a more inbuilt feature of Cypress. And the last but not the least, it is ideal for most JavaScript based web model frameworks, like for example, Angular or React and anything else. So these are the common 10, mostly what I think is the more uh, capable of delivering more that Cypress can deliver to you. Okay, now let's go to the installation part of it. So installation will have three components. Number one will be have a code editor. Number two is a JavaScript Node.js, and third one is a Cypress. So generally when we go for any sort of programming or any tool, we will have a code editor. In this case, we will use the Visual Studio Code, which is coming from Microsoft, which is becoming again more popular and it's more widely used tool. And second one is the Node.js application. So Node.js is basically a runtime environment for JavaScript, which is using the Chrome's V8 engine. And by installing Node.js, we can also confirm that the npm is also get installed. What is npm? Npm is a node package manager. Just like if you come from a JavaScript, Java world of things, then we have something called Maven. So here, the similar ecosystem for JavaScript is the npm, which is nothing but the node package manager. And you will come to know a lot of other details about npm in the subsequent sessions. And third thing is the important component, which is Cypress. So how we install the Cypress. So let's get started. Let's now go and install the first component, which is nothing but the Visual Studio Code. So if you go to Google and type download, let's type download VS Code. The first thing that we see here is the code visualstudio.com download. So click on that and it will lead to the installer page. Just download the Windows installation, which has come as an exe file, and you can find it in the downloads. So if I go to downloads, this is where I've just downloaded. This is the exe file. If you double click on it, it takes just a few steps and then you will be able to install it successfully. Just click accept and click run next. And I would prefer you check all of this. Is nothing harm because it will create a desktop icon. It will also add to your path variable, which is also good. And now I would prefer, or you can also check the other three checkboxes. And if you click next, and then it will take you to the installation. I've already installed it, so do not want to repeat it. So I'm just closing it now. So how do we confirm whether the node has been installed? Two ways we can confirm. If you go to your environment variables, just type edit and click on it. Go to the user variable for the particular user, whomever user you are logged in, and double click on the path. Then you will see that it has been installed under here. It is nothing but Microsoft Visual Studio Code bin. So the other way to confirm this, if you go to open a command line cmd and then start typing code space dot, and this will automatically open up the Visual Studio Code. It means that it is available to the user. Good. So this is the way we can confirm that the the Visual Studio Code has been installed. Number two is the Node.js application, Node.js installation. Let's go back and then start typing download Node.js. And then this will take us to the download page coming from the Node.js organization. Click download. And then this will give the installer, basically this MSI file. Just click on it. You will get the installation coming to your whichever directory that you pointed to. And here, if you double click on it, it takes just a few steps. And earlier version of Node.js does not install npm automatically, but in the current versions, it automatically installs the npm. So because I've installed already, I'm just closing it out, but I want to confirm that whether it is successfully installed or not. So again, if you can go back and refer whether the data has been added to the environment variable. If you go here, path variable, click on edit, you will see that the npm is being added under the app data. Basically, anything adding under the app data is basically means that it is available to the user globally. You do not have to restrict it to a specific folder. So it's by default, it will get added. The other way you can confirm is again open the command prompt and go type node space -- version will give us the version name of the version that we installed in the machine. And other confirmation on the npm, just type npm and then space -- and then say version will confirm whether what version of the npm that we installed. So far we have completed two components for the Cypress. Number one is the code editor. Number two is the Node.js, which is good. Third one is the Cypress, which is a core important test automation tool that we wanted to install. How do we install it? So before we install Cypress, let me go back. One of the folders that we have here, I have the workspace. I've created a folder called Cypress, and under here, let me create a folder for the Cypress end-to-end automation. Let me name this as Cypress or _ end-to-end automation. So once I create a folder, then land in the folder and click on this the address bar and type cmd. So we are here currently, and let me open code editor. Just in this directory, if you open code, it will just point out all the files which are available in the directory. So currently there are no files available. It is sitting here. Now the first step to install any of the Node.js project is to init. Basically just create the package.json. We'll talk about more about what packages do JSON and what is the real equivalence of the other languages. Let me create npm init. So this command will create a skeleton of the package.json. It will ask about few details. If you look at carefully that it asks for the package name, I'm just going with the same package name. If not, then you can edit it. And version is fine. Description, I'll say Cypress end-to-end automation. Whatever name that you wanted to test automation, any name that you can provide. Entry point, I'll leave it as it is. It's currently pointed to index.js. That's fine. Test command, leave it as it is. Git repository, optional. If you have any Git repository, you can also provide that URL. And then keywords, whatever keyword that you wanted to provide, I can all provide Cypress end-to-end automation, and author, scope automation, and licenses by default. Then you will get a package.json created. So package.json in JavaScript world or the Node.js world is equivalent to the pom.xml in Java world, where we keep all the dependencies, everything in a pom.xml. So I'll create this, say yes, and then now the package.json is created. The way we can confirm, you can go back and then refresh this folder. It's already sitting here. So under my project Cypress end-to-end automation, we get the JSON file here, right? Which is confirming that the currently we have set up a skeleton. Now the next step is to install Cypress. So any other tool, the way we can install Cypress is going back to the command line, and then here in the current directory, I'll say npm install Cypress. It'll take about few seconds or moments depending on your internet speed and a lot of other factors, but it'll get completed quickly. So basically what it does, it just pulls the npm package from the npm directory and then just it's downloading the Cypress tool. So allow it to complete. It'll take a few minutes or seconds. So once it gets installed, when we come back here in the Visual Studio Code, we will see already we are seeing that node modules get added. Let's allow it to complete. It's downloading the package. So in here, the node modules is basically just like the Maven repository where we have n number of dependencies. And one of the core components are basically that the bin directory. So bin is where all the executable files are sitting. And like by default, JavaScript add n number of other packages. It's all listing it here. And the package that we are just installing is Cypress. Cypress is sitting here. So once it is completely installed, we will be able to run a simple and existing test. So basically what it is doing, it's just doing the installation of the Cypress GUI, where we'll see that whether what is currently being running, we can control all of the tests that we are writing in the editor. Let's allow it to complete. It's taking a bit of time. Let's wait for some more time. And parallelly, just I want to touch upon few more things. In the Visual Studio Editor, basically, you may not be seeing the way that I'm seeing it here because I've just added additional extension. So that's, you can add it. We'll talk about different extensions that you can add as part of this installation. If you go here, and there are a lot of extension, basically it comes in here. One of the extensions that I've put already is the VS Code icons. So that's why you are seeing all of the folder structure here. Otherwise, you will just see the plain file names without anything. So I find it very useful. And there are a few more extensions that we will be installing it here as part of this installation. But let's go back and confirm whether it is running. It's unzipping. Let's wait a few more seconds. And parallelly, we can also talk about the extensions that we can install it. So the other installation that I can think of is the code runner. So this may not be useful for the Cypress Vault, but when you run a plain JavaScript here, that this particular extension may help you. If you type code runner, and this is the code runner, basically it runs almost supports all different types of languages. So if you click install, and then it takes few seconds, and then it install globally. So this may not be we may not be using it right away, but you will eventually feel that useful of this tool. And other extension that I wanted to touch upon is basically something called npm Intellisense. So this basically provides a lot of the existing commands or packages that we can install will automatically suggest us whether you wanted to import this or you wanted to get this package from existing things. So this is very useful. You can also get added. Another extension would be the intelligence. So when we deal with a file system, so which will tell us whether you wanted to go to this directory, when we started typing, it will auto suggest that you wanted to go to this directory or this directory. So by that we have completed almost different type of extension, but over the time we may be able to install more extension depending on what we need. Now let's go back. It's still 60%. It should have been little straightforward, but I'm not really sure why it's taking time. Okay, so once Cypress gets installed, so we will see this folder getting added to the project root directory. So currently this Cypress folder has different set of folders and a different set of files. And what are those files and what does it mean for the project structure? We will see that in the subsequent video. For now, let's focus on the installation part. So how do we run a simple and a sample test? How do we run an existing test from Cypress? So there are n number of ways we can run it. The first thing we can go and run is through that. If you go to node modules, here we have a bin directory. So this is a directory .bin will consist of all the executables of all the packages that we have. Under that we have Cypress is the one of the files. So here we can point it to this directory and then start running it. So for example, if we can go to the command directory and navigate to the node module. If I put cd node modules and then /bin, then this will point to the bin directory. From here, I can just say Cypress, and if you do not know what are the commands available in Cypress, just put --help, which will tell us what are the different options available. So under this, there are different set of options. So like the important options like help, version, run, open. Open will open Cypress in the interactive GUI. So this is what we need for now. And we can also install, verify and cache it. There are a number of options available. For now, let's put Cypress and open. So if you put Cypress open, it takes time to bit of just load the GUI of the Cypress. And if you're running it in the first time, it takes a bit of while, otherwise it's pretty quick. And it will open up the window and it says that the file already exists mkdir. So you may feel such a scenario. This could be maybe because of your permission issue in the directory, you may face it, but this is nothing to worry about it. We can just close it because there are n number of other ways we can run this program. So the other option is to run it from the command line and point into the package.json. So if you look at the package.json file, there are n number of, it's basically an object, right? It's JSON. So this guy will have n number of things, and particularly the thing we were interested in, the scripts. Under scripts, if you put any key value pair, whatever key that we provide, an equivalent command of that key, when we execute using npm run, that command will be executed. For our example, the command that we want to execute is, let's say that it is Cypress. It's optional, whatever name you like, you can provide it. And then the key command here is important. We need to provide Cypress open. And because it's JSON, just put the previous one, and this will become the actual JSON file. Now we can just run it through the GUI here, the terminal itself. The way we can open terminal in Visual Studio Code is basically if you press your keyboard control and then there's a tilt bar which is just below your escape key, and if you press control tilt, and this will give the terminal. This will also open up the terminal. From here, what we can say, let's say that npm run npm run what? Npm run this particular Cypress. So if you put npm run Cypress, this will basically we are passing the system command as Cypress open is what we are pointing it out. So this, remember that this should be in the project directory because that's the beauty of the package.json. So this will scan through all of the executable in the bin directory node modules and it will find the command wherever it is passing Cypress open, it will open the particular application. The moment you hit enter, then it will open the Cypress open application. Let's wait for a while. So it takes time and then let's load the GUI. So this is the GUI of Cypress. So basically the product team has already loaded few example tests. You can go and have a look at it. And we were able to now open it successfully. For example, for the sake of our exam and just for the demo purpose, we can click one of their files and then see whether how Cypress is running. As we can see, it opens up automatically the browser and it will try to load all the tests and then it will start running the test. So the beauty of this tool is I didn't even write any single line of code, and whatever the example that we have written, and you will see that when we see the next subsequent videos. And here they just pretty quick and then loaded and executing all of this test for us. So this is the one way we can open it. Similar way we can also open it through the command line. The same command line, if you go here and if you come back to the project directory, we can use the same npm run and Cypress open will open the Cypress. And if you're not able to successfully run through this, any of this, we can also use, there is something called npx. npx is nothing but npm runner. Npm executor is what in short it is called as npx. So you can use the npx to run npm package under the project root directory. If you go in here, and this is my project root directory, and here if you provide npx Cypress open, which will also open the Cypress. Basically, what is it saying? That it will open up the package and will open it. But npx, if it is the package is not found, then npm will automatically create the package and will open it for you. So let's allow it some time. And the moment it, because we've already opened a GUI, it's opening another window, as you can see here. And it will pretty much load the same thing and then you can go from there. So for now, until now, we have set up all the working environment in terms of the tool, in terms of the editor, in terms of Cypress itself, and we are now ready to go.